We're looking at the insecurity problem ravaging the Middle Belt. Of course, these include Benue State, Plateau State, Kogi, Taraba, and some part of Kwara as well. And the FCT is not left out in this list. People are beginning to get worried as to why it's been very, very difficult for government to find a lasting solution to the insecurity problem facing this particular section of the country. And so many factors have been alluded to this crisis. These include ethno-religious tensions, elite manipulation, land disputes, and weak governance structures. We have somebody who should know when it comes to issues surrounding insecurity and the actions that government must take to nip these issues in the board. We have joining us this morning Dr. Afolabi Olatunji, security expert and MD CEO, EdgePoint Security Services Limited. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
All right. When you look at the crisis of insecurity ravaging the Middle Belt, I mentioned some states, Benue, Plateau, Taraba, and even the FCT is not spared in all of this crisis. And for me, with my own assessment over the years, this problem is quite complex, and it's beginning to look like we are losing grip of the situation, looking at the wanton killings going on in that part of the country, in those part of the country, including especially Benue and Plateau State. So what have you taken your time to study as some of the factors that are responsible for this alarming rate of insecurity ravaging this part of the country?
All right. I think it's very important for us to first understand that this issue has been seen. You can refer to it as a very complex, persistent conflict between, that is happening within this region. And it's not only limited to Kwara. You also have some sort of part of the Kaduna, which is the southern Kaduna, Taraba, and Niger. And it has always been the aspect of the government, maybe ethnic clashes, and also religious, multifaceted problems that is in diverse, diverse ways. And but you see, it is very important for us to first understand the root cause of this thing, which is more like the place where government really need to look into. Talking about the herders, farmers clashes, you can imagine. So what is government doing to help curb this? First of all, government need to look at the aspect of what are we expected to do. You can't just say we talk about open grazing. You need to have it modernized, controlled to a certain extent. Open grazing in this current dispensation wouldn't work. So government need to come in to say, see, we can provide a certain section and have it controlled. Provide infrastructure, provide everything needed, necessary for these guys not to be able to have their, the cows and all these rams moving around. And,
farm,
it's good. And you also talk about religious activities. You can't leave that out. You're talking about the part of the northern Muslim and some part of the Christian team or settlement within the northern area. So it has always been, it is Christian, Muslim, and you can see that happening in Kaduna. And, government, what are they doing? You need to really come into this place and then see how you can dialogue, bring them together, let's address the root cause. Why are we having this? If we are going to separate, of course, Nigeria is complex. It's a complex thing. It's a multifaceted problem that we are facing here. But you see, without the intervention of the government, and not necessarily the government, but the government have to make that initiative. Now, not only the government, we're talking about the federal government and also the state government, then also have political leaders like the emirs, the obas, let them come together. The traditional leaders, let them come together. I believe that when they come together for open dialogue, conversation, I believe that solution will definitely come out from there, and then we'll be able to have a more peaceful region, because that's the central part of the region. A lot is happening there. You're talking about farming, you're talking about, a lot, and you also need to look at the way this thing has really caused a lot of problem. It's caused a lot of people losing their homes. Talking about the internally displaced camps. People don't have houses. You're talking about a lack of resources. People cannot even have access to economic resources. Talking about food, it's been causing a whole lot.
And it's also affecting the food supply chain in the country.
Exactly.
Because we know Benue, and of course...
Benue, like they know, is the food basket of the nation. You see, the Benue Horn, you imagine the people that died recently, 200 people. The question is, what are the government doing? I listened to one of the top leader. This guy is a face in Benue, and he was talking. He said, government is not really doing anything, and he said, government really need to come out. It's not until when the thing has happened. That the other time they were calling the Operation Save Haven about 37 times. They called them. There was no response over the phone. That it was when the old place was damaged, and that was when you now see the military formation coming and saying, and then they pick victim. The victim they picked, allegedly, they said they had the people that came, 5 of them, and this guy said they had the member of the vigilante group that was shot and killed, and said they are the part of the victim. So they were really furious and saying, no, this is not the right approach to it. I mean, there should be this quick response where we have government coming in to intervene in this thing as it ought to.
Okay, so talking about intervention now, that of Benue, when it happened, Mr. President was there. In fact, he had a town hall meeting with major stakeholders in Benue State. And at the end of the day, a committee was set up by Mr. President. Yet, a few days after I left, some people were killed as well. And then people are beginning to ask this question that, how sincere are we about tackling this problem in the Middle Belt part of the country, if indeed Mr. President actually met with all the stakeholders, political, traditional, religious, and we see a pocket of killings here and there in Benue State. Then it does appear that the people who participated in that town hall meeting are not sincere with themselves. What do you make of all this?
Well, for me, I think we need to really look at it from this point of view. There is no accountability, justice and accountability. What about the people that were caught? Are there any action taken by the government to deal with the people that are involved? You can't say these guys are...
To serve as an example for others who might be planning
So if you don't use people as a scapegoat, example, this thing will still be, it will continue. You have a persistent killing and there will not be anything. So it's not about just dialoguing. It's not about just talking. It's about you implementing some actionable plans, and then ensuring that the people, get justice. And the other aspect of it, you also talk about the land reform policy. For crying out loud, the land reform policy that we have, we're talking about we have it for 1967 or thereabout. So this policy need to also be reformed, because the indigenous people want to have ownership. You say, this is our land. You can't just say it's the land for everybody and then allow everybody to come and, So give them some sort of compensation. Okay. And then allow them to have, let them know, okay, these are the original old land, the first settlers of this place. And I think with that, you'll be able to get to some root cause of this. And I believe that if this is being looked into, I believe that, there will be solution, and I just believe in justice anyway. Justice, justice.
Land dispute is also one of the factors causing this problem.
Yes.
Is it also the same in Plateau State as well? Because when you look at the number of people that have been killed in Plateau as well, you get worried. And, from time to time, at different fora, the governor kept hammering it, so, amplifying it, that the way and manner they are killing the people of Jos, or I've forgotten the name of that community now, in Plateau State, is worrisome.
Bakin
Ladi, yes.
Yeah, Bakin Ladi local government. You see, for Jos, what the chief of army staff did was to make that place his own place of abode now. He has to relocate himself there. Some people in the media were criticizing him that it's not about you relocating to that place. What are you doing? And I believe that largely having him relocate his office from Abuja down to that place, if you understand what is happening now in Jos, it's been a bit
stable.
Yes, a bit stable. And the measures also of federal government also setting up the forest guard. Largely, you can see the effect of that. About 30,000 forest guards are being recruited nationwide, and I think the forest guard commander said the number will still increase. But with that, I believe that that could also help. And even the state government too need to also begin to look at the part of creating their own local security groups. In the southwest, you have Amotekun. We also have Ebubedike thereabout in the southern part of Nigeria. And there's nothing wrong in the northern side too. They have their own security vigilante too, doing fantastically well, helping the government. We're talking about intercollaborative effort of not just only the military. You must bring everybody together. Matter of fact, let the government begin to look at it. It's not until where the people wearing uniform. You have experts. You have people that knows. Bring them to the table. What can you come up with ideas? How do we tackle this? It is not, we failed. And government also need to come out and say, largely I think we have failed. Because it is until when you come out and say, oh, we have failed in this area, that's when people will begin to bring in solution and say, okay, what can we do? Can we try this? Can we try that? But you see, largely some of these things are being influenced politically too.
I was going to tell you that. And the one you mentioned, telling the state governors of these particular states to set up their own local security outfits, when you look at the nature of this crisis, it is quite sensitive. And, politicians are involved, and religious leaders as well, allegedly now. Won't they take advantage of their relationship with some of these locals to further attack those that they perceive as their enemies?
If you as the chief security, because as a governor, you are the chief security officer of that state.
Even though that's not 100%.
Even though that's not 100%. But if you see that the life of your people is precious to you, you value them, you're not going to watch people 100, 200. We're not talking about cow. We are not talking about goats. This is a situation where even cow life is more precious than human being. I mean, we need to begin to see from that point of view that, far beyond political, far beyond what we stand to gain as individual, the lives of the citizens. That is why you're there. You are the chief security officer of the state. So begin to take some level of responsibility. Let people know. I mean, okay, compared to what we have in Lagos, you can see what Lagos state government is doing in Ogun State and some sort of, southern part.
States.
Look at the measures, the collaborative effort, the measures they are taking to ensure that, there is no intruders, no banditry, and they are doing the same thing is what they're doing. If anything happens in all these states, where do people run? They run down to Lagos, they run down to, safe haven places. So why can't we have this same thing, in the other states? So the government need to stop playing politics over the lives of the people. They need to begin to take some practicable actions, and then begin to also recruit their own internal security team. And it will help, because government can't do it alone. If you say government, you can't tell from the presidency, I said, oh, presidency, you have to deploy the military, you have to have the police. But what about the local people? They also pay some security votes. What are you doing with this money? You can't complain and say, oh, it's lack of fund. We don't have enough resources to be able to. So what about the security vote the federal government is paying to the state government? What are you doing with it?
I was reading a particular report this morning wherein the former military chief cited in these areas have metamorphosed into organized violence, crime, and often reinforced by criminal network and the failure of government institution. It did not mince words on the role of political elite in fueling this crisis. And the other time, you were going to say that there's a bit of elite manipulation in all of this. Why is this so? And what do they stand to gain in all of these, manipulating these people, encouraging killing, kidnapping, and wasting lives?
Okay, like I said earlier, we're dealing with a multifaceted situation here. It's not only about, land disputes. We also talk about identity. We talk about people really looking at this is the Muslim Christian issue also. You're talking about farmers elders conflict at the same time. You see, I believe that the federal government has a major role to play. You see, nobody is bigger than the government. And it is a collaborative effort. The only way to this is that the federal government, state government, and including the traditional rulers, they all need to come together.
What about the local government?
If you talk about the state government, the local government is also under the state. So you need to bring them. And you see, it has to do with also deploying some level of intelligence. You need people to give you intelligence, and that's where the local government aspect comes in. So for me, I believe that in the state, in every local government, if the local government chairman can also charge some of the people in this area, if you see a strange person in this place,
give
information, because you can't work without intelligence. The military works on intelligence, the police works on intelligence, including other security agencies. They don't just jump to a place, and there are people that gives a very false intelligence report. So you also need to now check, this information, authentic or is false? So we need to do that. So they need to begin to deploy that team of intelligence in all the local government area. You don't need to know them. In fact, there was a time I was thinking, I said, even Lagos state government can also do same. Regardless, we have streets. As we have in each of the streets, if the association of landlords, when I know that I am recruiting or I'm having a new tenant in this place, I need to know who that person is. I need to know what the person does. I need to know what he or she does for a living. And when you see a strange face, just like what you have in the Western world, people, your neighbors will call when they see a strange face. They will call 911 and say, "Oh, I think I see so person doing this." And we need to begin to look at that until we begin to deploy that. And when you see strange people, look at the case of one young man that sells fish on the internet and that was killed recently. They said it splashes the prices of fish. How can you imagine somebody trying to do something in a certain state and then he was kidnapped by a team of young guys? The oldest person among the team of kidnappers that killed him was about 27 years old. And he's doing something. So state government need to do a lot for the people. Otherwise, they are losing grip of that state. So let's take politics aside and then begin to do the needful. If you are there for political reasons, then I don't think the people too need to vote you in, because it also has to do with the people that voted you in. If it has to do with you providing the re-infrastructure, talking about re-infrastructure, we're talking about proper security architecture. Has to really be overhauled. The state government need to sit down and say, enough is enough. The entire Middle Belt people need to come together. You have mentioned the state involved in the Middle Belt because that is the central part of Nigeria. When we come together, there is power and unity in coming together, and then solution will begin to come out. You see, let's settle this thing. Elders-farmers conflict can be resolved, no doubt. Ethno-religious group can also be addressed too.
Likewise, the land dispute as well.
Exactly.
All right. Looking at the complex nature of this problem, how much of this crisis is the porosity of our borders fueling in that part of the country?
The borderline of Nigeria is a major issue where I believe that the federal government
because you see strangers and people from,
in fact,
even those that are not
Nigerians
coming into the country, and then
African country.
Lately, we have also witnessed an alarming rate of small arms proliferation.
Yes,
which is also fueling the crisis in this region.
The small arm proliferation is a major concern in the Middle Belt now. People having access to weapons, before you know it. And that's where some military group, look at the case of Taraba. What is happening in, Nasarawa. Nasarawa now, there is a case of having some small military group. And how do they have access to weapon? It's through the borders.
Yeah, because of the porous nature of our borders.
The borders. So don't just have the immigration team alone there, also deploy the military. Let military be part of the team at the border. And I believe that maybe, I don't know, maybe by the time they start to erect some, sort of borderline whereby it can help people, I don't know, just like what the Americans are doing.
The fence?
Yeah, I don't know how much it's going to cost us in terms of budgeting, but we don't necessarily have to do the fence, even if it's the
what about the deployment of technology?
Deployment of technology.
To man those borders?
Well, it's one of them. But at the same time, we can also deploy the same technology in that Middle Belt to help resolve some of this issue. Technology, you can't rule it out. Technology is really helping to reduce insecurity. And the current or the recent attack in this military base in the north, information reaching us is that it was through drone. These guys didn't even go there. It was drone that they just... So it's the same thing. What if we deploy drone in all this region? What if we have people on man, what do you call it, area surveillance technology? You have people that are doing it, keeping surveillance 24 hours. I believe that all these things will help to reduce the rate of insecurity likely.
Okay, in this period of members of the National Assembly engaging different parts of the country, saying that we need to amend some part of our constitution, how well will the creation of state police fit into tackling this problem of insecurity and the crisis going on in the Middle Belt?
I think it's been long overdue. I think it is necessary the state government, I don't know, need to look at having their own state police. The federal police can do it alone. It's not
but that has to be backed by the law and the constitution.
I mean, they should approve it. I don't know why. We can't do it alone. They can't do it alone. Federal government can't do it alone. You need the state police. It is high time we need to leave this and begin to look at recruiting and giving the state government their own autonomous power to be able to have their own security team. Part of having state police, then also have the local security team too, to back them up. There is nothing wrong. If you look at it, I don't know the number of the federal police that we have now. I don't think we are up to 200,000 and maybe 500,000 max compared to the entire number we have in Nigeria. Over 250 million human beings. What will that number do? So it is necessary that the State House of Assembly begin to pass this bill, and I don't know what President Bola Tinubu is doing, and I think it's high time, because that's the only way. He came down there, he saw it. Police can't do it alone. You need local intelligent team to be able to work together with the state police, also with the federal police settings, so that we can have a more unified security architecture that will help each of the state. But it now comes down to the aspect of budgeting. You can't compare Lagos to Ogun State.
Sure.
You can't compare Ogun State to Benue. You can't compare Benue to, Nasarawa. So that comes down to budgeting. So each of the state government, I don't know, I just hope that this is also being approved. But for me, I think it's been long overdue, and I think it's necessary that we need to have a state police.
It's a way for us to go
it is a solution.
not minding
it is one of the solutions.
The funny characters, or some funny characters that we might have sometimes in political positions who might want to take advantage of
Well,
the creation of state police.
There's nothing we can do about that. Even the current
So
police
it's
that
long
you
overdue.
have, they have the special protection unit that deals with people working with some certain VIPs. You can't rule that out. And even when it comes to political rallies and, parties, they will definitely want to make use of that. But see, largely, we're talking about security of asset, people, and information. You can't rule that out. Every aspect of security is necessary, is needed. Let's look at the long-term benefit, the gain, the advantage of having them over this. Political part is just a minor part of it. And each of the country, every country has that. So it's not only about maybe Nigeria, it's only predominantly in Nigeria. No, it's not. So it's everywhere. But we should look at the long-term benefit. What will it serve us? Of what advantage will it be to those states? It will help to reduce insecurity, and then it will promote, economic values and.
Okay, before we conclude our conversation this morning, is there any particular approach that you want the security agencies manning this place? Is there any particular approach that you want them to change? And what are the major components that you want them to introduce to at least change the tide of things in the Middle Belt?
We need a more responsive, not reactive approach. A more responsive approach, not reactive. Not until let's look at how to prevent. You need to learn to prevent the crime before
don't let it happen.
Don't let it happen. Not until when it happens. We don't want that approach. I don't know. We need to begin to. I don't know who to speak to, and I don't know. Well, likely you have to also understand that even in the security sector, you have people that are serving different purposes, and people that politically driven team. Okay. So we need to understand that aspect. So it has nothing to do with the formation, but largely let's look at we doing more of very responsive security system in place. And if I will say something, I believe that right now we are enjoying some level of stability, peace in this region now. To God be all the glory. And why? Because the security chiefs are doing something phenomenal. Kudos to the Chief of Defense Staff, General Musa, and the entire security chief, the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Naval Staff,
the DGDSS.
DGDSS, IGP himself. They have come together. I mean, they are doing what they know how to do best. But largely, it's about you and I. Individual. Like we say in security, you see something, you have to say something. You don't keep quiet. If the life of your brother, if the life of your sister, look at the old woman, somebody that is very old, what can she do? People still come, they massacre them, they kill them like goats. I can imagine, 4-year-old kid, 3-year-old kid, people being killed. That's massacre. That's massacre, and that's not fair. So we need to really have people mind. We need to have people at heart. Like, I don't want anything to happen to my brother. I don't want anything to happen to my sister. This is Nigeria. We are one nation, and Nigeria must go. Let's leave politics aside. Let's leave religion problem aside. Let's come to this table and say we are one Nigeria. And I believe with that, we'll be able to get to the root cause of this.
So even as Nigerians, as our brothers and sisters living in the Middle Belt, they also have a role to play in all of this.
Everyone.
When you see strange faces in your community or in your locality, then you should inform the security agencies manning your areas. Because oftentimes, like you rightly identified, we don't care. It is not my business. Is here, let him do whatever he likes. And so all of us must come together and, of course, give information, support the security agencies in tackling this problem facing our brothers and sisters in the Middle Belt. Again, the Middle Belt and unending insecurity in that part of the country is our conversation this morning. And Dr. Afolabi has given us different angles as to how we can solve this problem. The angle of security agents is there, the angle of the federal government is there, and the angle of the people themselves is also there, because they will be the one to give information for these people to act and, of course, defend the territorial integrity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Dr. Afolabi Olatunji, security expert, MD CEO, EdgePoint Security Services Limited. We thank you for sharing your thoughts on the program this morning.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate your time.
Okay, that's the conversation on this side. We'll take a very quick break now. When we come back, it will be the turn of Adebimpe to take you through our conversation. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us.